Hello, this is Bob Joyner. Been a couple of years since I've made any videos, but back and going to be taking a look at the SPY over a series of videos. So this particular video is the introductory video, and I'm going to just give you the basic layout of my charts, what I look at when I'm trading the SPY, what I look at when I'm showing my charts to the SPY talk group, and just going to break down a little bit for you so that you have an orientation before I start some videos. My plan is to start some daily videos, just like 5-minute videos reviewing what happened on price action that day in the SPY. And along the way, what we'll look at is the structure of the market. We'll look at price action, momentum, Fibonacci, Heikin Ashi, all kinds of different things. So if you like technical analysis of the SPY, if you are trading SPY as just straight up, or you're trading SPY options, or you're trading futures based on MES 500 futures, which is what I do primarily, and I did that off the SPY chart. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know that you can do that, but the correlation between price action and futures price action is extremely tight most of the time. So let's go ahead and dig in. The first thing I want to bring over to your attention is just how I lay out the charts. And one of the biggest things that I do is I use Heikin Ashi candles. Now that's just the foundation of what I do, but in case you're not familiar with Heikin Ashi candles, Japanese construction of a candlestick, then I'm going to go ahead and review that with you now. Okay. So Heikin Ashi candles, if you're looking at the screen that's in front of us here, you'll have like a series of low candles, for example. The Heikin Ashi candles, so you know, the opening of the candle begins at the midpoint of the body of the previous candle. So here this candle, bearish candle, starts at the midpoint, regardless of what the price is doing. It starts at the midpoint of that body. Okay. Then this next candle down is going to start at the midpoint of that body, and then whether it turns bearish or bullish determines the color, of course. On this green candle, you start in the middle part of the body and then moves up. So one of the things we're looking at for a trend, of course, with Heikin Ashi candles would be a lower low and a lower high. So the candles, if you look at them, we have a lower low, we have a lower high. And so I move down lines that I watch for support and resistance, and also for trend while we're trading the market together in the chat room. But you'll see that series of lower lows, lower highs, until we don't, right? And then we have a change in the color and structure of the candles, of the Heikin Ashi candles, and all of a sudden, instead of it being a bearish candle, it's a bullish candle. Now, it's a pretty simple pattern, but it's a simple pattern that you can recognize in the market. Now, what we're looking at there can be any time frame chart. It can be a daily chart, it could be a 5-minute chart, it could be a 1-minute chart. So what I do, okay, is I combine that Heikin Ashi information, that change in color and structure, to see how the market's flowing. And I look at it on the candles, and for example, this is an example from a 26-minute chart from this past Friday, where the market just took off, but this was in the afternoon session, and you can see how we had this kind of a rolling effect. We had higher highs, higher lows on the bull side of things on the 26-minute chart, and then as we reflected off of these two fib lines I've got pointed at in purple there, then the market came down, tested that bottom fib line there, and started to push back up before the close of the day. So that's just an example of a real Heikin Ashi candle and how it looks on the charts, and that's just a piece of the whole chart, of course. So what I use is I use a 4-panel chart. Some people use 3, some people use 1 even. But what I want to see is, on the 4-panel chart, is I want to see the context of the market. I want to see different variations of price interpretation. I want to see the Heikin Ashi candles on 3 basic time frames. And the way I break it down is fractals. Okay, so I use a 26-minute chart over here on the left, a 1-minute chart on that second panel there, 5-minute chart on the third, and then a 1-minute again on the 4th panel over here. I want to focus today on these 3 panels over here. So we have a 26, a 1, and a 5. So if you think in terms of fractals, so the 1-minute chart is a piece of the 5-minute chart. Okay, the 5-minute chart is a piece of the 26-minute chart. But those fractal elements help us break down and see price movement on a very specific level to make better entries and exits, of course. But that's the way the charts are going to be laid out. And one of the things I do also is, if you're looking at the Heikin Ashi candles, we talked about how they change in color and structure. So when you see that on a 3-panel chart, on a fractal chart like I've got laid out here for you, then you can see as the colors convert almost in unison at times, and there's the kind of a flow as the market moves from a bearish mode to a bull mode and back again. And there's a kind of a flow to it, and if you watch the colors, you'll see that happening in the market pretty easily. One of the things I'll look at too is the color of the candle. So I talked about the Heikin Ashi candles, how they change in color and structure. So we have two choices, of course. We have a red candle, we have a green candle, okay? Unless we're using conditional colored candles, which I do on panel 4 with TC 2000. We're looking at either green or red candles. Like, no, they're not always going to flow together. They're not always going to agree. So for example, let's say we have a green 26-minute candle, but we have a red 1 minute and a red 5 minute. Well, obviously that 26-minute chart trend is breaking down, but is it breaking down into support? Is that retracement on the red candle something we need to watch? Or is that 1-5 breakdown the precursor of deeper breakdown in the market on the 26-minute chart? Usually it's not. Usually that 26-minute candle, Heikin Ashi candle, is going to hold its color and structure on most days in the market. But seeing those different colors lets you see opportunities and lets you see, are you on the right side of the trade or not, currently, of course. So you could also do something like, say, the 26-minute chart candle is red and the 5 minutes red, but the 1 minute is green. Well, probably you've got just a small retracement in price in the context of a larger downtrend. And as soon as that 1 minute candle turns red again, then you've got 3 candle red and you've got a more momentum type thing going on. So for example, on this, where all 3 colors agree, all 3 colors agree on red, then you've got a big move, okay? So we can look at that over on Friday, for example, this past Friday morning from November the 14th, 2025, if you're listening to this later on. But we had this conversion point. Now what I'm showing you are just the 3 panels, the 26-minute, the 1 minute, and the 5 minute. So the proportions are kind of mixed up here, but the tipping point, as I call it, is right at that green line, right inside that yellow circle, where all 3 candles turn green. And as you can see what happened after that, now I've got yellow, just to explain this, I've got yellow candles over here on this far right panel of the 5-minute chart. Those are also conditional colored candles, just showing very strong momentum in the market, but they're green essentially, but they're essentially strong green bullish candles, obviously. There are a lot of other things on the charts, and we'll get into that over the coming days. But I just wanted to show you how that conversion of color makes it obvious. If you're standing back and just looking at the charts, you can just see the overall color change, and it can give you confidence about which direction to trade the market. Okay, so that's a very quick idea of how I look at the market using colors and that sort of thing. This is a 5-minute breakdown of the trend on this past Friday, the 14th. So you can see we had this big bull run up here, and then we debated, as I said earlier, these 2 fib lines that are in place up here, and debated that high point, came back, found support, back and forth. So we had a major bull run up. This was like about a 12-point run from the morning low up until the to the peak there. That's a huge move in the SPY, in case you're not used to trading the SPY. And then we had that retracement, like I said, down into support, came back up to retest the high of the day, came back down to retest that support again. So we'll see what happens on Monday morning. But hope that quick breakdown, I wanted to keep this one brief, it will be helpful for you as you look at my charts and go back to review this video if you need to, right? Thanks for watching.